Then she said she needed a shower and invited me in. Then we were in bed and 2 minutes later it was over. People ask Reddit. How did you lose your virginity? I was 15. The guy was 16. He literally put it in and took it right back out. He thought I just wanted to lose my virginity, not actually have sex. I didn't stop him. I also didn't correct him. If he was that stupid. After a school dance, I took my GF to the park by the river. Parked at what I thought was a pretty private area. While we're having sex, a cop knocked on the window. We had to stop. He said the park closes at night. So we had to drive away. Didn't get to finish my first time. Reply. That happened to me recently actually. Caught having car sex at an empty park. Cop knocked on our door and wasn't so happy about it. It was terrifying because 1, he saw us half naked and 2, I thought we would get arrested and charged with something to ruin our lives. I was 16, and I had just gotten my driver's license a month before this. My parents had a rule that my girlfriend, who I was seeing for about 2 years at this point, was not allowed alone in the car, so to get around this she told her parents she stayed after school for art club. I told mine I stayed after for a robotics club. We would spend that free time finding secret spots to park so we could make out and touch each other. One day, she asked if I wanted to go farther. We got condoms, went to our safest spot, and boom, worst sex I'd have ever had in my life. We were crammed too tight in the back of the car, and honestly I think I faked my orgasm, lol. Now we live together in an apartment and things are much, much better. Remember the date well too because it was the same day SimCity 5 came out, and although I was hyped to play it, when I got home that day I took a shower and went to bed. My mom was concerned that I was getting sick and called me out of school after that. Don't get me wrong. My mind was blown. But knowing what I know now things are much better. Was with my girlfriend at my house. This was before we started dating, so we were both just hanging out at my place getting handsy and freaky. Clothes came off and we started getting into it. Ended up with her on her back and me between her legs. We both kinda looked at each other and had an understanding we were good moving forward, and then we just started. It was actually pretty good in terms of first times. In the school premises after my evening cricket coaching. I was returning home but saw a very good friend of mine waiting for her mom, a teacher, so I started talking to her. She confessed that she liked me and was tired of waiting for the right guy as all her friends were having sex and wanted to lose her virginity. We went to a secluded part of the school which was totally empty and did the deed there. Lasted only for about 2 minutes but it was a nice experience for the both of us. She ended up becoming my first ever girlfriend after a week. Then she died after about 7 months because she had a hole in her heart. It took me a year of therapy just to get my sanity back. It was a medical condition. Nobody in the school knew about it. She just collapsed in my arms one morning in school, so we all took her to the nearest hospital. The next day the teacher told us she was dead. Me and the girlfriend was watching a movie. She started playing with my D and I jokingly asked if I could put it in. She said yes, and we ducked for about 2 minutes before I came. Waited 30 minutes and ducked again for 2 hours. Went to a random house party. Met a girl I had never seen before. Played some truth or dare. Stayed behind with her when everyone else headed to store. She asked me directly. 15-year-old me, hell yes. No regrets. Uck. I was pressured into it. We were heavily making out and he started getting blue balls, but I was really uncomfortable with the idea of having sex yet. But he guilt-tripped me about how I needed to deal with it. Then he couldn't even stay hard to penetrate? So it was like some weird hump thing and yeah, totally unsatisfying for me and really awkward and disenchanting. We had sex another time and he made me feel shitty that time too. Eventually we broke up. 11 years ago. A single mother I befriended and thought I was falling for. It wasn't anything spectacular though. 17 years old with my girlfriend while her parents were gone for the weekend and she was home alone. Meant we could take our time and not feel rushed with it. Edit, yeah, I had heard some horror stories from female friends of mine, or even guy friends, and I didn't want her to have a bad first time, or me. My only regret was I wish I had brought more than one condom. I don't think I was done too fast or anything, but we had lots of time and I could have gone again. Luckily she was more than okay with having some hand play and oral after losing our virginity, so the fun didn't stop for the day/night. If you want to support our new channel, please hit the like and subscribe button. We would also love to read some feedback in the comments. Thank you very much. 14 years old, with a childhood friend of mine. Wasn't planned or anything, just completely instinctive and reciprocative. We were just wrestling in his bed trying to mimic WWE and shit, and something just came to him. On the sofa to my stepbrother's best mate who I'd been dating for about a month. He came downstairs halfway through to put something in the microwave, which was pretty awkward. We had Kerrang on the TV and Panic at the Disco, 9 in the Afternoon and Slipknot, Psychosocial were the only songs I remember. We split up about a month later and never spoke again. Now about 12 years later, him and my stepbrother are still mates. They both moved to Australia and live together. Ducked anal the first time, ex-boyfriend was convinced it was the poop hole loophole. A few weeks later we ducked. Reply? Me too. Not to get excited about something so stupid, but I get wild looks when I tell people. Solidarity. Ha! I honestly think it was the only way to get him to stop stubbornly trying to marry me when I turned 18. I absolutely adore my ex, but he was 20 and death gripping his virginity despite being extra down for every other form of sex. I was 18 and with my boyfriend at the time for like 2 weeks. We were at his house in his little twin bed. It was the first time for both of us. We kissed and then when we were ready he put on a condom and we had sex. He couldn't come and I guess we just kept going at it for like an hour. I don't think either of us knew or realized we could stop if we wanted, but it was a positive experience. I was 17. I lived in a small rural Texas town. My family had a deer hunting lease with a camper that we slept in on the place. She and I were good friends. We hit a road trip one Saturday night and ended up in that camper. She told me that there was no way I was a virgin. I took that as a big compliment and it was great. In college, I was going for a jog when I had a seizure. Some person found me on the ground and called 911 when I got home from the hospital. This girl who friend-zoned me gave me a call asking if I was okay and if I wanted to have sex. I wasn't sure if she was joking, so I just said yes. She gets to my dorm with condoms, and I get super nervous. We end up having a pretty good time. It went from being one of the worst days of my life to one of the best. 21, dating someone 24 years older than me. Went on our third date, first date after being official, and ducked on her living room floor. I was 16 or 17. Girlfriend and I had been escalating our activities over the prior weeks. Got let out of school early and my parents were at work, so we had a few hours of alone time. We put on Lethal Weapon and started making out almost as soon as the movie started because that movie is romantic as shit. Pants came off. We rolled around on the floor mostly naked, kind of dry humping each other. I ended up on top. I thought I would just put it in for a second to see how it felt. She made a noise like it hurt. I asked if it was okay and she said yes. And that's how I lost my virginity. It was middle school, after track practice. She asked me to walk her home. Then she said she needed a shower and invited me in. Then we were in bed and 2 minutes later it was over. Was texting with an older woman on the net. I was 17, she was 24. Our conversations had become increasingly intense. She invited me to her home, which required me to take a 5-hour train ride. We talked for about 20 minutes and then ducked all weekend. We entered into a relationship after this, as serious as a relationship with a completely disqualifying age gap and distance could be, for 8 months. That woman made a man out of me. When we broke up, I had done pretty much everything to and with her that any man wished his woman let him do to her. That, in turn, was a major point in all my future relationships with women my age. Sex felt stale and less exciting. With my high school girlfriend. She was house sitting for her cousin. Her cousin's husband left, so we'd out with a note that said, "Enjoy." We got high and horny. Next thing I know is we are in a king-size bed having sex. My first time, her second. The weed helped me last for a long time. Woke up with a hard-on and did it again. She complimented me and questioned if that really was my first time. She said he didn't duck me like virgin. In my head I said, I've been practicing since I was 13. I was 16 with my girlfriend at the time. She came back to mine after school. We had fooled around a little but never gone as far as sex yet. We got naked together and had very awkward sex, then her mom came to pick her up. We stayed together for 3 years after that, had a flat together and became best friends for a short time. On the floor in my room the first time my boyfriend stayed over. We were playing around and he asked to put it in and I said yes. Hey ho, still together? Thank you for listening to another B-Town Reddit Stories episode. Hit the subscribe button and check out our channel for more stories. Let us know your opinion about this topic in the comments.